This is actually a follow-up review to the original review I did of the Kriss magazine extension. I should say Brannell's was excellent. They took it back, no problems, no questions asked. But I was still looking for an extended magazine, which loads the 230 grain hardballs reliably. Obviously, if you load much lighter rounds, then it's much easier. But okay, so I ended up buying this, and I bought it from a slightly sketchy website. It did not list a brand, and actually the stock photos were not only tiny little thumbnails, but showed different products in the different thumbnails, none of which fully represented this. It had no brand on it, and so I actually started researching to try and find out what it was. The only indicator is that it says 26 rounds and made in Korea. What I found out, looking through all this, is that it seems this is the same magazine as is branded by a number of different companies, including SGM, I think Red, White, and Blue is one of them. And I don't know the actual manufacturer's name, but this will feed reliably. It came feeding not super reliably, certainly significantly more reliably than the Kriss magazine extension ever did, but not great. It needed lubrication and a bit of breaking in, and once it got that, and I should say I cheated with the breaking in, but we'll get to that in a second. Once I achieved that, this now runs reliably, and that's nice. There have been a lot of complaints from these Korean-made magazines that they won't feed reliably. I can only speak to my Glock, suppressed and unsuppressed. It will feed reliably from there, and it will feed 230 grain rounds. But the break-in I tried to try and get this to work, and I should note that this would not work on the Kriss magazine extension because that had a physical hang-up in it, not just a surface finish issue. What I did was I first lubricated the inside, spring, follower, and tube with a little bit, just a smidge of a nice grease, and a dry film lubricant as well, I should add. And then I loaded it with rounds, but as I loaded it with a speed loader, right, because what you're doing to try and break something in is put sort of up and down cycles on it. As I fed it, would put run round in and then push the speed loader up and down multiple times with each round, and doing this both loading and unloading, so you're increasing the number of cycles. So it's not the full up and down each time, but you're going one round height up and down, which is the equivalent of running probably dozens, maybe significantly more, hundreds of magazine fulls of ammunition through it. And after doing that, feeds great. I mean, it's not great that it has to be broken in necessarily, but at the same time, you know, no complaints. It does run reliably now, and you can't argue with the price, which is about $15 to $20, not including shipping, depending on where you go. So that's just my sort of quickie follow-up to that. Why Kriss wouldn't manufacture something like this for its Vector, I don't know. This whole magazine cost significantly less than just the Kriss magazine extension, and that of course doesn't include the actual base Glock magazine. If you were to buy the fully assembled Kriss Glock magazine combined parts, it would be, I believe it's $60 per magazine. Well, you could buy 3 of these or more for 3 or 4, depending on what you get it for that price. So on the whole, I have to say, I like this. I really wish Glock would manufacture one of these. If they did, I would purchase that preferentially, because Glock is not only the originator of the design, but tends to make very reliable magazines. I suspect part of the reason they didn't and don't is because they have found it difficult to manufacture a magazine which is loadable unless you have, without steel thumbs, basically, and can also reliably feed a stack this high of 230 grain rounds, which is not easy to do. So that's my review. I should say that fit and finish is not as good as the Glock magazine. I trimmed flashing on the front side, and it is fully steel lined, as you can see. The follower, the base plate, is not as nicely designed as a regular Glock one. It sort of fights you a bit more and is a little more prone to sort of get away from you. But other than that, it's basically very, very similar to just a slightly less nicely manufactured Glock magazine. So yeah, that's my review. I will note there is one difference here though, worth just pointing out. Glock magazines have metal right here, and this doesn't. But it works fine. So anyway, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you at the next video.